Three things or several things you're going to need is you're going to need some vinegar, you're going to need a 5-gallon bucket, and a pump, a submersible pump, and two of these connections that will go to the hot and cold water. Alright, we're going to be doing this descaling here, and this is what it looks like. We're going to be turning off the gas line, and then we're going to be turning off the, so let me see this here, it really is bright. We're going to be turning off the cold water inlet and the hot water outlet, and then we'll be doing these drain things. We'll be letting the pressure out. And then there's a valve, a filter that's right up in here. I don't know if I'm pointing at it or not, but we'll take a look at it later. That we'll also be doing. Okay, first thing we're going to be doing is the unit's still on, so I've got everything all set up. What I'm going to do first is come down here and turn off the gas supply. So it's right now it's on, so I'm going to turn that down, and that'll prevent the gas from going into the thing. My next step, let's keep on that. My next step is I'm going to go to the hot and cold water valves, and I'm going to shut those off. So right now I've turned off the inlet, which is the cold water, and this is the outlet, which is going to be hot water. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to drain the valve caps. I'm going to open up the valve caps here, and we're going to have some water spilling out if everything goes right. And I'm going to set those up here for now. Next, I'm going to turn on this pressure, or do the pressure relief valve. Okay, and then I'm just going to flip that back down. I've taken off the drain caps on the hot and cold side already. We still got water shooting out, so I'm going to let that come out for a little bit. Although I know there's no more water going in there. Next is I'm going to be connecting the pump to it. So I'm going to take the pump, and I already have the pump here, and I've already got it connected to the outlet side. So I'm going to take that, and I am going to put that into the inlet valve right in here. Then my next step is going to take the another one of these connectors. I'm going to connect it to the outlet part, which is the hot water part. This is going to be the drain back into the barrel, into the bucket. So the goal is we're going to be running vinegar in through here. It's going to go up through the heat exchangers and then come back out here and back into the bucket. And before I plug it in, my next step is I'm going to fill this up with 3 to 4 gallons of vinegar. I'm going to pop in 3. And we're going to do here. Okay, next I'm going to turn on the pump here. So I'm going to just plug it in. And what I like to do is I like to check and make sure that the vinegar is going through and that it's actually coming out the downspout. So I'm just going to lift this up for a second And there it is. You can see that the vinegar is coming through. Everything's working fine. So right now, the only thing I have to do is wait for an hour. We'll let this run through for an hour. I'm checking the time. I'll check it as soon as I stop the recording, and then we'll come and take it from there. Alright, I've turned the pump off, and we can see that it's stopped flowing right now. So my next step is I'm going to be disconnecting this cable right here. There'll probably be some vinegar that'll start flowing out, I would assume. Yeah, there's a little bit that's flowing out there. And my next step is I'm going to go put this cap back on. Because the next process is I've got to flush out, it's going to be about 20 gallons of cold water, and it'll flush into this bucket. But before I can do anything with this bucket, I'm going to take this and dump this vinegar out, and I'll be back in a moment. So anyways, the next part of this procedure now is I've already emptied out my bucket. I've got the cap that's put on, and now I'm going to open up this valve, the cold water valve, the water inlet valve, because now I've got to fill in about 20 gallons, which will be 4 of these buckets fulls. Now turn this on, and we should have the water coming out the hose. So I'm going to do this about 4 times. Okay, so this is the last one, so I'm going to turn the valve off, and I'm going to dump this last bucket out. That makes 20 gallons that I've done, and then I'll be back for the next step. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to grab this filter that's in here, and I don't know if I can do this and show it to you at the same time. We'll try. Well, it's starting to rain. I knew this would happen, so I'm going to go do this real quick inside. And I don't know if you can see this at all. Hopefully you can, but I'm going to pull this out. You'll see some water dripping out. And this is the filter. It's actually pretty clean, but it looks pretty clean, but I'm going to go ahead and rinse it out and come right back. So once again, we can see that this is really pretty clean. There's a couple things there. I'm just going to run a little water in there just to a little bit of cold water and just rinse it out. There really isn't any mess inside this thing. We've kept up with it, so it's been done every year. Okay, so I'm going to start doing this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this filter back in, and if you want to take a look under here, it just screws in. It's like hand tight. It doesn't have to be any tighter than that, because you have to have access to that every year to clean this thing out. And right now that's hand tight. So my next step basically is all I have to do is disconnect this one, and I'm going to put the cap back on and put that in nice and tight. One last thing I want to make sure is I'm going to restart this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug the plug here, the power plug of this unit, and I'm just going to unplug it for about 10 seconds or so. Then I'll plug it back in, and that'll reset everything. Make sure I get that in there right, so that no water gets in there. So I've got everything all closed. I'm gonna open up both the hot and cold water valves. And this thing's trying to start up, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn the gas on. And I'm gonna go check the hot water. I'm gonna go turn the hot water on, and we'll come and see if the hot water, and make sure everything's going okay. All right, so I'm inside. I'm gonna turn on the hot water. Let's see. It does take every time you turn on the hot water, there's cold water. You gotta remember there's cold water inside the pipe, and it's gotta run from the hot water heater, the tankless heater. And it usually takes, well, I'm getting warm water right now. I was gonna say it usually takes about anywhere from 10 to 14 seconds for the cold water to run out and the hot water to start coming in. And you might want to keep that in mind when you're taking showers, that it does take a little bit of time. And right now I am getting the hot water. So this is it. This is the end of it.